Today we're going to be talking all about the new champion Vildrax. Hey, welcome, I'm LeilaFox. Today's lore story video is for Vildrax. Vildrax is the brand new epic demon spawn champ that actually happens to be a fragment fusion. Now, what we do find interesting with him is his design. It looks like Raid Shadow Legends is starting to introduce kind of an insectoid faction, but instead of creating their own faction, they found a way to pretty much add this champion into the demon spawn. Now, let's check out the demon spawn faction lore as a whole, and then maybe we get an idea of how Vildrax could fit in. Beyond the dark portal lies a realm of fire and darkness. It is the home of ancient beings born of darkness. Forbidden from setting foot in the fair lands of Teleria, these foul entities have conspired with necromancers to breed demon spawn, unholy unions of demon and mortal. Let's get into the lore story for Vildrax from the Telerian Lore Book of Champions. Even among the accursed demon spawn of Serath, one would struggle to find a beast as vile and disgusting as Vildrax, the Duke of Flies. He's a creature of avarice and pestilence and endless hunger. His body takes on the aspect of both human and insect, a profane, twisted mockery, wrought in red, raw flesh. When the demon speaks, his voice reverberates like the buzzing of myriad flies, and the stench of decay hangs heavy in the air about him. Though Vildrax was not among the fallen Lightbringers who had rebelled against Lamea, he is still an ancient and powerful creature. It is said the soul of the first mortal to seek the secrets of undeath was the larva from which Vildrax hatched, and it was that unholy ambition that shaped the demon's spirit. He hates all things beautiful and pure, and would plunge the entire realm of Teleria into a state of decay, if he had the power to do so. Even those who had stand higher in the hierarchy of the demon spawn legions are the object of Vildrax's scorn. He believes himself to be deserving of a much greater position than he holds now, and oft works in secret to undermine those he considers to be his rivals. Unfortunately, there is a cunning and malicious mind behind those delusions of grandeur, and what Vildrax may lack in innate power, he makes up for with subterfuge. His servants are scattered across Teleria, infiltrating organizations dedicated to Lamea and more prominent Serath-worshipping cults alike. On the rare occasion Vildrax deigns to grace the battlefield, he turns the fray into a terrifying spectacle of dark magic. Swirling arcane energies and swarms of demonic carrion flies fill the air when Vildrax spreads his hexes across human ranks like a plague, reveling in despair that he sows. His baleful presence alone is enough to hamper the efforts of healers fighting on the other side by siphoning their power into the Duke's own twisted form. Of course, there is usually a solid wall of minions ready and willing to throw their bodies at the enemy so that their master does not need to sully himself with melee combat. Though most mortals would loathe the presence of such a despicable creature, Vildrax himself has no scruples about working with lesser beings to promote his goals. Indeed, if his ambition called for it, he'd have likely helped the Arbiter herself just to get rid of a rival. But anyone reckless enough to seek such allegiance must take heed. Demons are not to be trusted, and Vildrax will always place his own unknowable goals above all else. Alright, so that was the lore story for Vildrax, and I have to say, I do think it fits really well. When we start trying to figure out how did Raid consider adding in an insectoid into the demon spawn faction, I think they did a really good job of explaining it. They talk about how legend talks of some of the earliest entities that tried to understand and tried to seek out the secrets of the undeath, and how the legend says they were actually larvae, and then that is what actually started to evolve some of the demon spawn. Very interesting way to try to add that in. And even when we look at Vildrax in-game, one of the things I really do like is when Raid starts trying to introduce into the lore story and have some similarities along with their abilities. So when we had read the story for Vildrax, talks about swarms of flies, carrion flies, and that's what we have here is his A2 is called Duke of Flies, which actually is an AoE hex. And even his A3 is called Swarm of Horrors, also is an AoE. So I really like how they considered adding that in into both the ability that this champion has, but also into the lore story. I think that helps to kind of try to mesh the story up a bit and help you to try to get this feel of like this demonic insect. I do like with Vildrax how they found a way to kind of mesh in this human insectoid, pretty much something that's supposed to be unholy, something that's completely the opposite of Lumea, and in that way ends up fitting the demon spawn faction. Now, what did you guys think for this story for Vildrax? Do you think it fits how this kind of champ is? Do you think it fits some of his abilities and the hexes and how they added this insect type champ into the demon spawn? Leave me some comments down below. Let me know what you think of this lore story. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, check out some more videos up here in the playlist on the top right.